It's a glitch, bro. It's got to be a glitch. If we all feel that way,
He won't even. Honestly, I was like, don't send it. He didn't even respond to me. He didn't say anything. I think he froze.
oh no.
We lost you.
No, you
I was like, oh, that was good. That was good.
Fucking got me, man.
What's the kid?
He's
one
trying
that
to say,
first
like,
one?
at what point in your life do you grow up and stop being a kid?
Like, well, not more so like, why is it that like people are like, oh, they're just a kid, like don't expose them to that. Like, I don't believe in that so much. Like, I'm more so like, kids should be more set up. Like, why do we wait so long to set people up for things and say like, oh, they should wait until they're this age to start having these responsibilities, enjoy your kid like stuff, this and that, blah, blah, blah. But then when we're older, we're like, oh my god damn, I wish I did this when we were younger, blah blah blah. Like, we set ourselves up for failure with so many contradicting ways of how we think in life. And I was thinking about this the other day, and then I was just like, yeah, why is it not okay? Like, not to say something wrong, right? Because I'm not saying like anything with children is okay or like anything like that, but we go through puberty at like 13, but like, you can't do anything until you're 18, like 5 years later. And I know that's like a maturity because we know of how mature people are. But what if we started teaching them how to be more mature earlier? Yeah, because people say, well, no, you should enjoy being a kid. And like, why can't you learn how to be successfully set up or learn responsibilities and still enjoy being a kid? Because while you're responsible in your 20s and 30s, you still had plenty of fun, right? So why can't you learn how to balance all of that at a younger age to be set up at an earlier age to have a more successful life? I don't know. Like, that's just how
I don't
was thinking.
disagree with that.
Who are you saying this anyway? Are you just saying
just-
the majority of the population?
Yeah, I just
of
feel like,
people?
yeah, like a lot of people in life like feel like, oh no, like because I have kids, and a lot of people, like, when I try and make my kids responsible, I teach my kids how to fold laundry, they know how to put their dishes in the sink and stuff, like they know.
Well, those
you
are
know,
small chores that children should be learning.
but yeah, but my kids are 5 and 2 and or
So?
almost 3. Some people tell me like, well, they shouldn't be learning that yet. You should like let
Who?
them
Right,
Give me
but
one
these are-
example.
this,
Is
that,
it,
blah,
is it
blah,
like
blah.
a family member, a friend? Is it a
Certain
coworker?
family members, some friends, like, people that are close to me. But that's
You
why I
gotta
don't wanna name
remember,
drop.
because what'd you say?
I said that's why I don't want to name drop, but
Oh.
but no, like,
Well,
so, yeah.
some of these people are not necessarily trying to tell you how to raise your children, because at the end of the day, they're your children. You're going to raise them however you decide to. If you want to teach them earlier in life, then by all means, I'm for it. When it comes to that topic you brought up about sex and puberty and stuff, that's a different story. Hold on,
Well,
hold on.
I don't. Yeah,
hold on.
that's what I'm saying. That's why I
Because
said
it's not about
beforehand.
sex, but it's
Yeah.
about the perversion and the loss of innocence. Because
Mhm.
when you're 16, 15, 14, you really shouldn't be focused on that, because sex is for reproduction, and when you get to a certain point in life, you have multiple partners, you try things out, you see what you like, what you don't like, what works and what doesn't. That's a mature thing. When you were 21, 20 years old, 22, I mean, most dudes, or women actually, I should say, were just fucking to fuck, because it's like, this is the new thing, this is the new hot
See, but
fad.
you're thinking our generation, like before
Right,
the
but even
digital era,
still.
before social media. I'm talking about like, I want my child to know that there's people out there that aren't really talking to you nicely. Like think about it. My kid's on YouTube all the time. Kids YouTube, this, that. She's starting to learn how to use TikTok and stuff. She's like, when I'm next to her, like, you know what I mean? She'll use it on her own.
Well, she learned
But-
from you, though.
But I'm just saying, but I'm not going to be able to stop her from these things. Once she's like going into school now, she's going into first, second, third grade. There's other kids that are going to know what it is. I'm not going to be able to stop her from learning these things. So I'd rather teach her them, but I also want to teach her the bad side of it too. And certain people are like, well, you shouldn't tell her that stuff. Like, why are you going to worry her with that? Kill her innocence and things like that. Whereas I want her to be prepared, because there's people that are, yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, even when we go, like we went to San Gennaro Festival, we went on the ferry this night. I had a conversation with her and telling her there are bad people out there, people that will take you from us. They'll grab your hand. They'll tell you that they know where we are, or that they have something for you, or this and that, blah, blah, blah. They're going to get you excited, and they'll want to take you away from mom and daddy forever. She's like, why? Well, because baby, not all people in the world are nice. Like, like I want her to not be scared, but be prepared or aware exactly of
I
just
feel
like
you,
that's
but when you I get the parenting part of that, of like wanting to be like, listen, you got to understand there's good, but there's also bad. That might also scare her or put her in some type of mental capacity where in the future she has trust issues with everyone and anyone,
But
you
why would that
know?
make her have trust issues?
Because what you're instilling in her now, she's thinking, I can't trust everyone because there's bad people out there. I gotta watch.
Well, see,
Maybe
that's
she'll
why
be
it's
me on
it's
her wits and she'll be more aware of it, but also maybe she won't be able to trust anybody,
no, but
especially
that's
if
my
one
job
bad
as a
thing goes wrong.
parent. That's my job as a parent in that conversation to tell her it's not about not trusting people, but it's about how you know who you can trust, like determining who you can trust and not trust. You know what I mean? Being smart enough to know that who you can talk to, who you can't talk to, what
Right,
you
but
can say, what you can't say.
when you're telling your kids these things, like obviously you're not gonna start telling them until you feel your kid's smart enough to actually understand and comprehend what you're saying.
Exactly.
You can't just start telling your kid this and you've put no type of structure, like learning and understanding structure behind them. They're just
Yeah.
gonna hear you, it's gonna go in one ear and out the other, and they're
Oh, absolutely. Well, and I know
they're
you're
gonna
saying that because my kids are still younger, but I am thinking about like the near future of when they're getting
But I
older. Like,
see how your kids are. I interact with your kids. I know your kids are smart. Like you've structured them to have a good thought process, even though they're
Mhm.
children. Like they're careful, they're smart, they're respectful. So like knowing all that shit first, then being able to have these more serious conversations with your kids, like the one you had on the ferry, like, hey, there's bad people out there, they will take you. Like, she's smart. She understands what you're saying. Like she understands that you're serious, so that it's important. She needs to listen.
Mhm.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Well,
That'll
yeah,
sit
like
with
there
her.
was.
It's good that you tell kids this shit young because they understand. It's better to know it at a younger age.
Yeah. Well,
Become more aware and more
I saw this video on
as, you
TikTok.
as they get older.
This girl was eight years old, I believe, and she was taking out the garbage for
That's
her
what I
dad.
feel.
No, you're absolutely right. I agree with you. So this girl was 8 years old. She's taking out the garbage for her dad. They had like the Ring doorbell camera. She's going out to the curb, puts the garbage on there. Somebody's walking by and goes to try and grab her and bring her in his car and like tries to take her right in front of her own house. She starts screaming. She does get away from him. She runs inside the house. So afterwards, I showed Mia this video and she was like, oh my God, what happened? I was like, Mia, this was somebody that was outside her house. That this is what happened. Like sometimes not all people are good. And again, I feel like some people would disagree with me showing her that, but even like Danny totally disagrees with me cursing in front of my kids. Totally disagrees with how I curse so freely in front of my kids. You will never hear them curse in front of anyone unless it's just like me and them in the room.
That just goes with the whole that bad example.
But I'm just saying, like a lot of people say
example.
that, but I've explained to them like so many times. Obviously, it took a lot of times, but I've explained to them how it's bad words and how it's disrespectful, and a lot of people don't like them, and how that they shouldn't use them in front of certain people. So when me and them are playing and stuff, they might say something or let something slip or whatever. But anywhere else, nobody has ever said anything to me about them having a problem with cursing. But as they were younger, before they got to this stage, everyone was like, dude, you shouldn't do that in front of them. They're going to be cursing. You're going to be at this. And it never happened because, again, I feel like exposing them and preparing them is better.
Yeah, but that doesn't go for everything. But you could, dude. Listen, there's no right and wrong. Listen, okay.
Well, yeah, it definitely doesn't go for everything. I agree with that.
Between the three of us, like I'm sure our upbringings obviously are somewhat similar, but like we've all been raised differently. Like my dad was doing a lot of crazy weird shit, and like getting on me at a young age. And it kind of it's like a hit or miss. You got to hope your kid understands it, takes it the right way, and doesn't fuck it up. You know what I mean?
Right.
At the end of the day, she's gonna be old enough to make that decision. Like you become to that point in that age where it's like, okay, these decisions matter now when I'm starting to, you know what I mean? Like if I say fuck when I'm 5 because I hear my dad say it, we kind of laugh it off and push it. But like if I'm in school now and I'm telling a kid to go fuck himself and you're just, you know what I mean? You're a freshman in high school.
That's a valid
it's
point.
like you should know that that's not when you should be doing it. So like obviously there's no right or wrong like when you want to start bringing shit up like that around your kids, but like it really does come down to your child if they're going to be responsible and smart enough to know when to do these things and when not to do these things, when to be aware of a situation like, oh, I remember my dad telling me on the ferry when I was 7 that there's bad people out there. Now she's older and she should use that. You know what I mean? It's like, you gotta hope that your child, like me, I did a lot of things differently than my brother or sister would, and we were all brought up the same way. You know what I mean?
Good point. That's
Just
a very
depends
good
on the
point.
child, you know?
That's a very good point. So that has a factor to do with it too.
If she's like retaining the information and understanding why you're telling her this, same reason as like,
That's why I was saying before,
well-
it's very important to make sure your child has like a good foundation of like basic right and wrong rules.
Absolutely. And going over
Because
that,
then you could float around with these other, you know, hey, I can tell you a little bit about this. I could show you this movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to watch.
well, that's what I was
this
gonna say. So like
You can
if
do
they're
those
not
little
retaining it the first time, isn't it your job as a parent to show them differently the second or third time? Like if they're not retaining something and you're showing them the same way, whose fault is it? You know what I mean? It's your job as a parent that if they didn't retain something the first time, that you notice that they didn't retain it. Well, okay, now we need to approach it a different way. I need to show you a different way or tell you a different way. You know what I mean? That's definitely one thing that, as me as a parent, that I try to go to situations, because if she didn't get it the first time that I told her, the second time that I told her, okay, now we need to do it a different way. And don't get me wrong, I'm not
switch up the
perfect.
strategy.
There's some times where I don't do that and I might get frustrated and just yell. Don't get me wrong. I know I'm a
Don't get me
perfect,
wrong.
I'm not a
Don't
perfect
get me
parent,
wrong.
but yeah, for the most part, that is what I try to do. You know what I mean?
So at what point do you grow up to
Or
then
what?
be able to make those decisions on your own? Yeah, I
See-
understand it goes by the child and the upraising, but like, is it 7 years old? Do you think your child can make decisions?
I
Is
don't
it
think-
9
I
years
don't-
old? Is it
See, I
12?
think
Is
it
it
depends on the
15?
parent, like how Joe said, like before. I think it depends on the parent, because like Karen, right? When we used to have like things with the kids, and like they would be like crying about something to get something or this and that, she'd be like, oh, they're tired, or they're just this, or oh, she's only 2, or at what point do you stop saying, oh, she's only 2, or oh, well, she just needs a nap, oh, well, she just this. I always used
When
to
does she
say,
take responsibility for her actions?
so I used to always say, she may be 2, she may need a nap, she may be tired, but she has to learn that even though she's tired, she can't just act a fool.
Again,
You
I
know
don't
what I
think there's
mean?
any right or wrong to that either, because
So-
you could be 7 and depending on the situation, Karen could be like, come on, she's 7, Frank, leave her alone. You know what I mean? But you're trying to, there's still a 7-year-old, like the laws of
Well,
physics.
'cause
and,
I
like,
hate
you need
that
to-
excuse.
You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just like, she's not wrong. But at the same
No, I
time,
get it.
you're not wrong either, because
Well,
you know,
that's the
you're-
balance of 2 parents. That's why, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's why they say there's always like a stricter parent and like a softer parent. And it's so true, because anybody that I know that's like parents, it's so true. Like there's always one stricter parent and one softer parent. Even like you guys, think about your parents. I'm sure growing up, one of them was more strict and one of them was like more softer.
Yeah, but I was scared of both of them for different reasons.
I feel that. I feel that.
Same.
Oh, I feel that. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like if we go by the logic of, oh, they're only 2, at what age does the child just start listening? Like if you're like, oh, they're only 2, oh, they're only 3. Okay, so what time are you expecting to not say that and they're just going to start listening to you? At what time do you actually start holding them accountable for their actions? So to me, I just always tried to hold them accountable young.
I mean, like,
Don't get me
think
wrong,
about
not
it.
every
How-
single time and be a stickler. You know what I mean?
How old are you when you enter into first grade?
You're 6. No.
6.
Well, yeah, because no, you're gonna be 6 turning 7. Because Mia is 5 turning 6 this year, and she's in kindergarten.
Right. Okay. So you figure around like 2nd, 3rd grade. Fair enough. You know what I mean? You've experienced your first day in school. You're with other people. You know, now you're interacting on your own. You're not with your mom. You're not with your dad. You with your stranger, a teacher. You know what I mean? Like when I say stranger, I mean you with a teacher now, and you with all these other kids in school. Now you have to act accordingly. This is where you should know when to talk right to somebody, when not to curse, when to say please and thank you, raise your hand when you got a question. That's where I think they're going to start picking up on that. Like, okay, time to be,
Well, it happened already.
time to
once.
be an 8-year-old. You know what I mean? Time to be an, I'm not a child no more. I'm not a 5, 6-year-old.
Well, see, that's what. So it happened once already, and she's 5 or 6, but she's in kindergarten, and she has a friend, Amelia. So she went to this school 2 years ago. Last year, she went to a different school, but now since this school's closer to our house, we put both of them here since they both went this year. So her friend that she had from 2 years ago, she's still been friends with. They are like best friends. So they sit together at lunch every day. They always hang out for no reason at all. Mia's been like sticking her tongue out at her, saying like, I don't want to be your friend, or like, all the like childish, mean, like nanny boo boo stuff.
Yeah.
But she's like saying it and picking on her friend and like being a bully. So they didn't tell me until Friday, but apparently she did it all week from Monday to Friday. And they were like, oh, we were hoping that she was going to get better or it wasn't going to stop or like whatever. But, we just want to let you know that this happened. So I was pissed. Like she came home and I was fucking A, embarrassed. B, we had a long talk and I took her iPad away for the whole weekend. I said, you're not having your iPad for the weekend. That was it. Because that's her favorite thing. So took the iPad away for the weekend, limited like, what she was like having fun with on the toys and stuff, especially the first day and Saturday.
This is a key moment, Frank. Don't fuck this up because
and that's what I'm saying.
This is that age where it's going to distill on her for when she gets into that first, second grade. So, and she has to.
When she came home, the conversation I had with her was about like, how would you feel if she said things or did the things to you, and all the people in the lunchroom were looking at you getting made fun of? How would you feel looking around at everybody like feeling like that? I was like, you would feel really stupid, right? You would probably cry. So I was like trying to tell her to like understand how she made her friend feel. Then we made her make a card to like say I'm sorry to her that she gave to her on Monday when they went back to school. And they've been cool. They've been fine ever since. Like I've had no problems and like whatever. But exactly like you said, to me, when I heard that, even though I was embarrassed and pissed, I'm like, okay, this is a key moment right now that I need to focus and do the right thing in the sense of making sure that she knows the right thing to do the right thing going forward. Because exactly like what you're saying, she's going to go back to school by herself and she needs to know how to act when we're not around to make sure that she's not acting right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I can't believe I got a fucking bully. I was a fucking nerd. I used to get bullied in high school. I had a bully problem. I used to come home fucking upset to my mom, crying sometimes. I got into fights with bullies. Like I was the one that got bullied, and my fucking kids bullying kids. You gotta be kidding. Nah, that's not happening.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes, man. That's how it goes. You saw the movie Bully?
Yeah, I know, but Tom
Arnold and Rick Moranis. You ever see it, Joe?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Rick Moranis, Tom Arnold.
Yeah.
It's
Tom Arnold used to bully Rick Moranis as a kid, and then they grow up and they have kids, and now Rick Moranis' son is bullying Tom Arnold's son.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good. It's like a night, was it 97, 94, maybe something like that? I don't remember, but it was like then. It was good. Around when Little Giants came out.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's good. That's is the age where kids become bullies though?
No, because nowadays, like even like being cool in school, there's smart, cool kids in school now. That the smart kids were always like nerds back in the day. Like things have changed and evolved in a sense where I'm sorry, you could be a popular kid and still be a nice kid, and you are not going to be a bully. It's not going to happen because I see. That's the thing is, I am the type of father where we do spoil them. I let people give them whatever because a lot of kids like to spoil my girls. I have a lot of people that are close with us, like you guys, a lot of other family friends and whatever. That okay, I let them spoil them and do whatever. As soon as they are doing wrong, though, I will be the first person to take everything out of their room and put it in a garbage bag in the basement. I will. I'll be the first person to take everything away from you.
I've seen him do it.
You have it. I have. I'm not joking. Like I've done it multiple times. I'll take your iPad away. I'll take the toys away. I'll take whatever it is away. You are going to learn to be respectful and appreciative of the things you have because you have a lot of things. I was also someone that grew up with not a lot of things, so there was a point in time, like after my mom passed, that I was sleeping on people's couches and things like that. I didn't have a lot of things. I learned to be very appreciative for the things that I have now. I want my kids to learn how to be respectful and appreciate what they have because they don't understand that they could have a lot less. You know what I mean?
At the same time, you want to give these kids a better life than you did.
Exactly. And that's the balance. That's why I let them have it. But when they are bad, I'll take it away. Because at the end of the day, even though I'm taking away the fun, they're still in their house with food and warmth and clothes. You know what I mean? They still have the necessities no matter what. It's the fun stuff that I'm taking away.
At what point do you think a kid can make decisions for themselves?
I think Mia's already there at 5.
A full-blown decision.
What do you mean a full-blown decision? Like she goes to school and decides between 3 different lunches and like chooses what she wants for lunch. That's a full-blown decision to me. You know what I mean? If they're like, you want pizza, mozzarella sticks, or peanut butter and jelly, she knows what she wants. Like she'll make the decision.
What are you picking? Pizza, mozzarella sticks, or peanut butter and jelly.
Peanut butter and jelly all day.
Joe,
Mott sticks.
I knew it. I'm taking pizza all day. We all
Really,
eating
we're all
today.
different.
We all eating today.
Definitely taking the Mott sticks, bro.
I knew
You know
he
what's
was gonna
funny?
say the mod
I
sticks.
just-
Joe's a
like,
big dipper.
always-
Joe is a big
I'm
dipper.
a big dipper. Anything you dip,
I like dipping sauces too. I do, but see, I don't like hot lunch at school. Like mozzarella sticks would be like soggy. They wouldn't be like nice
Yeah.
and crispy out the fryer. You know what I
I
mean?
would work something out with the lunch lady every week.
Joe's
I'll
like,
be
I'll
the
give you an
first
extra
one
$20
there.
at the beginning of the week. You fry my mozzarella sticks 5 minutes for lunch.
Extra sauce, extra stick, extra crispy.
Just how I like it. I don't know, man. I used to like hot lunch a little bit. Like,
Really?
I just didn't want to bring my own lunch. My mom stopped making it. And I was like, all right, well then fuck it. I'll just spend $1 on food or whatever it was. It was
See,
cheap
I-
as
Once I was in middle school.
Did you
I
have to
started,
pay
like,
for
making my own
school
lunch.
and lunch in high
Yeah.
school?
yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't that shit crazy? I forgot we had to pay for our
Well,
fucking
see-
lunch when we went to school.
I went to school in Vegas though. So in middle school, I brought lunch a lot, but I also used to make my own lunch a lot. Like I didn't like school lunches, so I would always make sandwiches and stuff the night before and like just make my own lunch. But in high school, freshman, sophomore year, I would only eat, they had curly fries with cheese sauce. It was like $3.50.
Oh, you fat bastard.
And that's what I would get for lunch every day. I would just get a curly
It was
fries thing with side
$3.50.
of cheese sauce, and it was
You ate it
$3.50
every day?
every day. I would get curly fries
Hey.
with cheese.
Hey,
Maybe
I
like
forgot.
1 or 2 days, like I'd be like, all right, I'm sick of it. I'll take a break. But like almost every day, I would eat curly fries with cheese.
Bro, I'll never forget the chicken teriyaki sandwiches. That shit was fire. It came in that little tinfoil little packet thing that was rolled up. Oh my god, bro. I'd always ask for extra sauce. Like, we ain't got no more. I'm like, bullshit, Bernie. I see you in the back stirring that shit. I want some of my extra sauce.
Bullshit, Bernie. No, and then I was just saying, so junior and senior year, I got to do off-campus lunch. So right next to my high school, there was a Taco Bell, there was a Dairy Queen, and there was a pizza spot and a Chinese spot. So like
All
we
the
got
perfect nutritious things high schoolers should be eating.
whatever, but we got 45 minutes to go off campus and get lunch.
I just
Oh,
cut lunch every day.
that's what it was. I didn't realize you guys were allowed to leave. We
I
left
was-
against our own will and we had to start to sneak back in.
Same.
That's funny. Well, see, when I started ditching in my senior year, when I left, I wasn't sneaking back in. I just fucking left for the day.
Frank, is it true? Did you guys have slot machines in your high schools?
In the high schools, no.
Damn.
They gotta hook them early.
They have them almost everywhere else though, but not high schools. High schools,
They have
churches,
them at gas
hospitals are the only
stations.
places. No, yeah, gas stations have them. Everywhere else has them.
So do you to kind of bring this back for a second, do you think that a 5 or 6-year-old can decide on what they want to do for their sweet 16?
No, that's
Danny,
11
that's
years
so
away.
Hold on,
Like,
hear me
far
out.
away.
Hear me out. This is what I'm saying. It's 10 years from where they are, right?
yeah,
Do you think that if you told me, if you were like, give me a theme for your sweet 16 and that's going to be a party, if whatever she picks now, 10 years is going to pass, you think that's going to change?
Yes.
absolutely.
She's going to change her mind on that?
Maybe
30,000
not,
times.
but yeah, probably.
Where's the
Chances are they're
percentage? What
changing.
would you say?
9 times out of 10.
80% chance she's gonna change that fucking whole theme.
Okay. So why are they letting children choose their gender at this point?
Oh, I can't with that either.
Oh, yeah, that's retarded. They're just
This is what I'm
retarded. That's not
saying.
even.
They had the after school program for her, the after school Y thing, and it said male, female, or non-binary.
Like,
Non-binary. And I
How
was
are you
like, how do
able
they
to
know?
choose?
Because the
How are you
parents
able
would
to
choose
choose
that. The
what you
parents
want
are
to
saying
do
what they
or
are.
what you want to be? That's what I'm saying. If you got 10 years from now and you're going to have a sweet 16, you can't stay true to your topic. So how is it that whoever boy or girl thinks they want to be a boy or girl now, even before the age of 10, 9, and they start giving them medication or testosterone or fucking whatever it is to help sway them? Why do they think that it's the child making a sound and sound body
I-
decision?
To me, I am against the whole thing with that. Like, I know there's people are going to hate what I'm about to say right now, some people, but I'm going to say it anyway because I feel this way. I really am against all that. I truly believe, like, if you want to change your gender, if you were a woman and you want to become a man, or you were a man and want to become a woman and you get the operation, okay, you went from one to another. But there are two genders. There are If you have male parts or if you have
Mhm.
female parts, you are a male or you are a female. That is it. There is nothing else from that to me. So like you could say yes, there's a transgender because they changed, but non-binary to me is not a real acceptable
How do
thing.
you reproduce? You're not asexual, so you have to be you either have male reproductive organs or female reproductive organs. How you choose to express that is a different story. But
Exactly.
I don't think children should be having that decision. And
Like
they're like
They
your
shouldn't.
putting
sex
it in
and your
their
pronoun
face.
should be
Listen,
different. Your
hear
sex
me
and your
out.
pronoun should be two different things, and they're making it one thing. What
It's
you
not
identify
about
as, you know what I mean, and what you like want people to call you or whatever, like are two
that's
different
one
things.
thing.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
but compared to what you are, what you're putting on some legal document, I'm sorry if you want to be called he or she or whatever, but you have the opposite part. You got to put down the right thing when the time comes. Like it's just fucking.
And I'm not persuading or swaying anyone to go in any different direction. It's like you're born a boy, you feel a little feminine, you like to play with dolls or whatever, and girl things get you fucking excited, then that's cool. But like ride that out. I know it might suck for high school. I'm not going through it. Other people like you and I, we're not going through it. So we can't see how much it sucks to be a girl trapped in a boy's body going through high school, or vice versa. A boy
But it's
trapped in
also
a
not
girl's
your fault
body.
that you feel that way.
Right. And I understand it's very confusing because at a young age of pubescence, you're trying to find out who you are, what you want to do. But to get a change of procedure and to take medication to like sway one way or another, I don't think personally, at least, I don't think that should be allowed
No, yeah,
for
I don't think
that
something like that
person's
should be allowed till they're older.
decision making until maybe 16. I would personally say 18, but 16 is like, all right, I'm 16 now. I've lived this much of my life this way. It's not working for me.
Mm.
Let me switch it up. Instead of being like, oh, I'm 8, I'm gonna be a boy and I'm gonna name myself Tyler when
Yeah.
her name is like
Hey.
Vanessa, and she's just confused because she's got this shit going on with drag queen shows in school saying this is a penis book and shit like that. It's being
Drag
projected
queens are
onto them.
funny as hell,
This is true,
Yeah,
but
I
for
hear you.
adults. This is for
No, yeah,
adults, you
I hear
know?
you.
though.
So
I
now,
definitely hear that. I definitely see the going back to what I said too about
Shout out
preparing them a
Drake.
certain thing. There's also certain things that they shouldn't necessarily see or be exposed to.
which is what
Like
I was
exactly
going to
like
bring it back to now. As
well,
a
because like when
child,
you
that's
said
why
with
they
like the
say,
sex
don't
things.
say this too loud or don't curse because you're projecting onto them.
Mhm.
So you have that under control to your family, others don't. So
Yeah.
at what point are they still too young to see certain things?
Well, because I have that under control because I have a very open communication with my kids. A lot of people don't because they're scared to say certain things to their kids or what, like how to say it, or if, whatever. Like a lot of people don't want to say things to their kids just because they think they're going to damage their kids. And that's one of the most damaging things to their kids, that they're not communicating with them. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Like I always want my kids to feel like they can come to me for anything. I want them to feel like that I've taught them so much that oh, I should go to dad because he's taught me all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
I always felt like I should instill stuff in them early because I want them to come to me when they have a problem or something like that. But I also want to, when the time comes, feel like, all right, I've done my part. Like they're going to be okay to go out freely on their own, because let's face that, for Mia, certain times that's already becoming the case with school and stuff like that, like how we talked about, you know what I mean?
So now, okay, so now you're going to be more comfortable letting her go out, do her own thing when she starts to driving at a car? Or do you feel like you'll be a little more reserved? It's like, it doesn't matter
No,
how
I'm
old
going to
you
trust
are.
her because I know me as a parent, and I'm going to have her prepared for a lot of those things.
Okay.
I'm also the type of parent where like I don't mind as I'm with her, and so I'll take her with my car when she doesn't have a permit. We go driving in the parking lot, like down by the beach. You know what I mean? Like I don't care about that. Like there's things like that I want to make sure my kids are mature and prepared. Though, like why am I
At
gonna
what point
why am I
then?
gonna shelter them from some information to let them find out from someone else on their own that they could be
Yeah,
finding out wrong, have to figure out the hard way?
I agree.
Why wouldn't I just like have even sometimes an uncomfortable conversation with them, but to help them, give them some information to be able to be prepared for something, so when they go out into something they're not nervous and scared like, oh fuck, I don't know anything about this. Like I'd rather, like how they say, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but
Mhm.
a master of none is, I forget the rest, is something of all, like everything. Like, so it's better to actually know a little bit of everything than to be a master of one thing. Because if you're a master of one thing, you only know that one thing. But if you know a little bit of everything, you're more expanded. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So,
Well, versatile. That's why I've had 18
Yes.
jobs in my life. I know a little bit about a lot of it. So what I was going to ask you before then is, by you building them up for this mentality and preparing them for the real life, what, it's difficult to us to say what age, but at what point of their life do they stop being kids and they become adults? And then for us, are we adults? Like, what makes you an adult? Because you have kids, because we have jobs, because we have responsibilities. I don't,
so
up until about like 4 years ago, I still didn't feel like an adult. Now I'm like, okay, people could come to me for help if they needed, because I'm the adult in the room. And I'm still like, is there another adult here that could also be spoken to about this situation? An
I
adultery adult?
I definitely
Very
get your
true.
point. I definitely get your point, because even with them, like, they look up to me like I know everything, and I'm like, I'm still figuring this shit out.
You
have
know
no
what I
idea.
mean?
So I get that, but however, I personally think that, like, a lot of the things that you
But
have to be
however-
18 for, a lot of the things that you have to be 18 for, I think you could be 16 for. And a lot of the things that you have to be 21 for, I think you could be 18 for. And it's that way in other countries sometimes.
So I would
I
probably
person-
just keep everything to 18, most likely. Maybe not drinking, I'd keep that to 21, but most other shit, I mean, that's
But,
wait,
like,
because you
voting,
could
stuff
enlist in
like
the
that.
military at 18, but you
No,
can't
but
have a
see, like,
beer.
I meant like voting and things like that, like starting to make decisions. 16, okay, yeah, alcohol, cigarettes, going out, all that type of stuff. Yes, 21. That's all 21. Or I mean, all 18. But 16, like, you should be
I
able to
don't know.
start
I
having
feel
some
like
responsibilities, making some decisions. Like, voting
not
isn't that
voting.
big of a deal to me.
Yeah, dude. I mean, listen, besides the fact that our election was stolen, I do feel like these people are targeting the audience of children to persuade them. Same way if,
Absolutely.
let's say, whoever's running for politician,
even if,
right?
look at
starts
Trump and Hillary,
starts
dude, it
going
doesn't
to
matter.
starts going to communities of Latin American people, right? More Latin American people are going to vote for them because they see, oh, this person is here. They're, in with the crowd or whatever. I like them now because, oh, we don't have to pay student debts. Yeah, of course, I want that guy. Their
Mhm.
minds are still being molded. 2 years to be 18 isn't that big of a difference, but at 18, you can go to war if they draft you because you chose the wrong person to vote for. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes. I get what you're saying, where a 16-year-old can make someone's life more difficult and not be affected by it.
A 16-year-old shouldn't have responsibilities for other people's lives, is what I'm
I
saying.
disagree, if in the sense of, as a country, we were preparing them to be as a younger age.
Look
they
where the
would all
country
be, as a
is.
whole, more
Just look where the
responsible.
country is.
Yeah, because
Nobody
we're
was
preparing
prepared
them
for
more to
this.
be like, enjoy your kid, be a kid, don't have responsibilities. You shouldn't do anything until you're out of high school. Blah, blah, blah. You know how many kids that I know nowadays that don't even have a high school job? My cousins work with my uncle at his pizzeria like crazy and help him all the time. But a lot of their friends that they know at high school, or like, distant friends or whatever, they don't work. A lot of these kids don't do shit.
That's their own parents'
fucking pay
fault,
for
though.
everything.
Maybe.
But
right.
that's a lot of the mentality nowadays, because these parents are like, well, I want them to have a better life than I had. I want them to enjoy being a kid. I don't want them to have to do all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. And they think that they're helping them because they're letting them enjoy themselves longer, but really they're crippling them, because then these kids are coming out of high school and they didn't have any fucking responsibilities. And now they're getting slapped in the fucking face by the world. And they're like, mommy, daddy, help me. Well, what are you going to do? Like, you know what I mean? I don't want my kids to ever be like that. I want my kids to run to me when they need help, but not like
Not
that.
every
You know what
little
I'm
thing.
saying?
I get what you're
Yeah,
saying.
you know what I mean? Like, they're going to be prepared to fucking be able to fucking be a badass person on their own.
That's a valid point. Shit. Okay.
I told you I was
Shit.
passionate about this one. I wanted to talk about this. I had some stuff the other day, and after everything that happened on Friday with like her being the bully and blah blah blah, like, I wanted to talk about this. I really wanted to talk about this.
That's a good topic, man.
No, definitely. Yeah.
So I guess
Can I change it up for like
What-
2 seconds?
Yeah, get change.
Oh
it
wait, no,
up.
go ahead. No, wait, D, what were you gonna say?
no. Go ahead.
I just
I
wanted
was
to
just
like.
gonna say
Okay, no.
No, you go, fam.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say back to like at that age, because you mentioned about like high school jobs, and I had a brain thought before. I forgot where I was gonna go with it, but like when I was in high school, I had a job. I'm sure you guys had your own thing going on, whatever point. We grew up to like, okay, you're in high school. When you're not in school, you're gonna either be home working or working somewhere else. You know, if you want to gain money and start to get a heads up on life and shit, you get a job, you become responsible. What kind of jobs are there that these kids from high school are getting, and like do you think that the where they start out has anything to do with their future jobs? You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying?
Well, because
Yeah,
nowadays it's all
definitely.
you can make your own money. So like, especially like you can get a
Well, so
license at
now I'm
16 in
glad you
most
brought that
states.
up, but
You can get a
this is
license at
actually a little
16.
earlier.
What?
What?
I would say you can get a
Driver's
license at
license and working
16.
papers are at 16.
What?
Well, I say so you can get a driver's license at 16. You can start doing DoorDash at 16. You can start making money doing that on your own time. You know, you don't
Okay,
have to
right, but
have
now
be
you
at a
have a
job thing.
16-year-old kid with no driving experience, all driving around the fucking,
You're gonna
wherever
get
the fuck
driving
you're at.
experience. How else are you gonna get experience unless you get experience? That's how you get it, by doing it.
Facts,
So
facts.
you know what I mean? That's number one.
Can't
Number
really
two,
argue that, but I see where you're going, Danny.
and number
Well, I'm
two,
not
with all
done.
the social media stuff, with video gaming, with all the different
Well,
like
that's what I was gonna say. Go
the
ahead.
eBay type of shit. There's so many different type of things now. All these kids that are like crafty, that like, you know, there's people that are making the different cups or t-shirts or whatever. All this, there's so many people that are starting home businesses now that like there's kids that even can take their hobbies and turn it into something. You know what I mean? Putting it on social media out there. Exactly like how I tell you with your artwork. All the stuff that I've been telling you about, there's kids out there that are 16, 18 that are probably want to be an artist, but social media is out there for them, and they can start doing stuff now while they're in high school, and they can start setting themselves up and doing shit on the side. That could be like how you're saying, like, well, you have to go to work or be working. That's them being like working, because something like that you need to put years into to get followers, to get like noticed, to get networking in, to get all that stuff in. What better time than when you're in high school for 4 years, and when you
Right.
come out, you could have
Mm-hmm.
yourself set up for what you want to do. You know what I mean? And 18 to me, like how Gary Vee always says, is the best time for you to start following your dreams. The time that you can be single, get an apartment with like 4 friends, and take some fucking risks and try and maybe open a business and do something yourself. It hopefully turns out by the time you're 30. And if it doesn't, well, you go with like a backup plan and get like a safe job or whatever it is, you know? But that's the best time to take some risks and try and do something if you want to. I wish I would have fucking known that when I was 18, 19
Yeah,
years old.
same.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, same. Really.
So, and that's what I want my kids to know.
A lesson to your kids.
Yeah, I'm making my kids listen to this episode in like another 5 years.
I hope she's not a bully in 5 years, because
Oh, better not be.
she's gonna kick some ass. I'm gonna beat her ass. Whip his ass, Lee.
Whoop his ass,
Um,
Lee. I just was watching that a couple days ago.
So I love that movie. I wanted to kind of say that, like, also we look down on youths, because it's not that we look down on youths, but we say, oh, look at that kid over there. Whether the kid is 8, 12, 16, 22 at this point, maybe even 23, 24. I mean, that's just how old we are. But at the same time, when do we stop saying, oh, that kid over there? You know? Like, granted, it's a kid running around the playground, that's a kid. But like when they're driving, like this little kid driving a little fucking Miata or whatever, what differentiates?
Oh, what
we
age
see?
do you stop calling someone
Yes.
like, oh, this little
I
kid?
should have just thank you for explaining what I tried to do and just mouth drop it.
Danny couldn't spit that one out.
I feel like once you hit like teens, they're not like, I wouldn't say little kid once it's like a 13-year-old or whatever. Like, I mean, I guess
If
I
you say,
would
all
in
right,
that
this kid in a
situation. I
Jeep
don't
was
know.
driving mad fast on the highway.
Yeah, that's
How
what I
old is
mean.
this kid on in
But
the
I would,
Jeep?
I think it goes from little kid to this kid. You know, like someone like 12 and under
Yeah,
would be like, oh,
I
this
guess
little
you.
kid, blah, 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 blah. But then if it was like a 16-year-old driving, it'd be like this kid. And then after 18, then you're like, you know, this dude,
That's a big
this guy.
differentiation.
Whatever.
I guess I don't know. I like if I didn't see obviously you don't know how old these people are.
Yeah.
But
and obviously it goes by look.
I guess I don't know.
I mean, because you could have a 20-something-year-old that's like going bald and doesn't really have a lot of hair on the top, but has hair on the sides, and you think he's like 40, and you're like, hey, dude, or hey, guy. And he's like what? Like, and you realize after he's like 27, you're like, oh, you're a fucking kid. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. And at what age do we start getting called sir?
I've been called sir, and I fucking hate it.
Well, hear me out now, because
Fucking
you
hate
have
it.
2 kids. Technically, you are a sir.
Shut
by
the fuck
I've
up.
never been called a sir.
I have a couple times, and I
Really?
fucking hate it. Yeah,
Why? I would love
I don't
to
like
be
it.
sir.
No, makes me
Hey,
feel like
sir.
I'm 40. My dad is sir. I'm not sir.
So that's such a cliche thing to say. My father is Mr. Popolato.
Yeah, fuck that. All right,
I
so
got called sir at a restaurant one time. I said, dude, if you're gonna call me sir, pronounce it right. And I was like, it's sire. And he was like, what?
Sire.
He was so taken back by it. I was like, then just don't call me sir. That's it. That's the end of my story.
Sir Daniel
Yes, sire.
Schwartz.
Sire, squire. I don't even know what that is.
so
Wish.
keeping in mind what you were just saying, like about a restaurant, you want to tell them about this Thursday?
Oh snap! So yeah, this Thursday I'm having an art show at Violet Cellar, on Highland Boulevard, and I'm gonna be showcasing most of my art, and I'm gonna be selling it, and I'm also gonna have a raffle. So there's gonna be
It's
a
all
bunch
you
of
could drink for
pictures.
4 hours.
Okay,
You should have led with that.
I was gonna end with that actually, but now I guess you could just.
No,
It's
because
beer
you
wine
gotta
sangria for $35 from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m.
open up big with something that they're like, oh, what? Like, oh, it's drinking for 4 hours.
All right, so let's try it again. Cut, wrap, and now you start. You give me the ad.
All right,
since
you
want to
ready?
be all
I'm
Big
gonna give
Bang
you guys
Theory.
this.
Here we
At
go.
this restaurant called Violet Cellar, Danny is putting on a fundraiser for his art. We're doing an art show. It is
Pow!
$35 a person, and it's unlimited drinking for 4 hours, beer, wine, and sangria. The $35 also comes with a free raffle ticket that's included.
The fucking
what are you
Catalina
doing?
wine mixer.
What are you doing? 12 different artworks you raffling?
There might be 15, but yes, it's gonna be 12 for sure.
Okay, so like 12 to 15 that we're going to be raffling off. You guys can still purchase extra raffling tickets on the side, and it's going to be a fun night. He's going to have other artwork there to sell on the side also. Are you going to be doing anything else?
I believe that's it. I had to cancel the keg and the dancing girls because we couldn't get the papers right. But
not a
yeah,
party
so there you go.
All
Beer, wine, sangria.
right.
Come check it out. I love for you guys to help support my art and just check out what goes through my mind because that's pretty cool. You'll also get to see us there. We'll be there. So that'll be awesome.
So shoot us a DM. Let us know if you want to come. We'll give you guys the info.
Sounds good. Or you could just Venmo $35 to Danny Schwartz 23 and just write art show on it, and I'll have your name with the ticket on it when you show up.
That's it.
Okay. Thanks for that. And then I guess thank you all for listening. Thanks for the likes, listen, shares, and follows. We appreciate your support. Love to see you out there in the art show. Thanks.